All right. Good evening, everybody. David E. Taylor, you are a piece of shit. Michelle Brandon, you're a lion sack of shit. That's right, I said it. And I want to give a shout out to Betsy Kobo, Jam in My Cult Watch, Lord Pender, Apostle Residential Center, St. Louis, Apostle David E. Taylor Comedy Channel. You guys, thanks for what you do. You guys are all kind of critical in the fight. Looks like I got a stain on my shirt already. So David will be going live tomorrow. And we'll see. Let's see if this is like his 7 nights with the king, that big shit show he had last year. And it was a shit show, David. It was ridiculous for you to sit there. Like the one night you sat there till like 2 a.m, dude, just sitting in that chair like fucking Jabba the Hutt, just sitting and like begging for money. I got a couple new subscribers today. Chuckles a lot. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and also Evangelist Rajiv Sharma. Thanks for joining. Kind of everything's been quiet. So David if David is quiet, so are we, because I think he's finally learning that he adds fuel to his own fire by coming out and doing videos. So it's better that he stays hidden. Also, new subscriber, it's me from 713. Thank you. How you doing? So David, tomorrow I'm gonna be there, and against people, telling me I shouldn't crash your Zoom party. I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily crash it. I'm just gonna go there. You're never gonna know when it's gonna be me. You never know when I'm gonna drop in. I have all the information. I have all your Zoom information. Karen Steck, his virtual crusade is tomorrow. It will be at, I'll tell you exactly when. Usually starts around 7 Central, give or take. But then how he does it, it's weird. Like he'll come on, he'll have like his little, most likely he'll have one of his concubines. It'll most likely be Ashley, okay? That's just an assumption. Be Ashley, but who knows? David's got like a list of people. He still has Richard T. Jones on there. He has prophetess Michelle Brandon on there as like a guest speaker, and it's just this whack-ass list of people. He has Pastor Steve on there, and then David, you have this guy from Liberia doing a video and like trying to accredit you. Again, David, you're gonna try and beg for money from one of the poorest countries in the world. Like, I don't get it. Like, is that how low you have to stoop to probably scab from some of the most uneducated people in the world too at that? I don't know what the education is like over there, but I'm taking a guess, David, that's shitty, dude. That just shows how pathetic you are. So running that scam, man, it's ridiculous. That's kind of it, guys. I mean, again, David's been quiet. The case is still going on. For anybody that's curious, it's still going on. He's going to go to trial in December. David, you can't run from a man's justice. You can't. You can't run from what's going to happen in the courts. And AJ Lama, hey, if you want that information still, I'll give it to you, but you haven't emailed me. So if you want that information, I mean, I'll give you all the details about David's scam. You want to know about the $1.4 or $5 million house they just purchased cash with your money if you gave any of it to him? If anybody's given David money, he just purchased a mansion with your cash money. That's bounced 2 checks, bounced 2 earnest money checks, right? 2 earnest money checks bounced. They went back for the 3rd. The seller said cashier's checks only. That's it. So the fact that you had to pay cash for this house tells me a hell of a lot, David. You might not think so, but if you read between the lines, there's some serious shit going on in your cult, dude. You're for sure like scrounging for money. bouncing checks on a project like that, not a good thing to do. You know, that was a big ass purchase, $1.4 million, dude, plus aggravation fees. You know, that tells me a shitload of a lot. You couldn't pull a loan. You bounce checks. You know, that doesn't look good. In some states, that's a fucking felony, and they just arrest you for it. I don't know how Missouri works, you know, where you're at, but some states that triggers the fucking cops to show up at your door with a warrant and arrest you, and it happens. It for real happens on smaller amounts than what you bounced, you know. So I'm curious why those two checks bouncing didn't trigger like an audit or some shit, you know, from the bank. I mean, because to bounce those earnest money checks, those were big checks, dude. Big fucking checks to bounce on something like that. So I don't know, man. That's kind of, that wouldn't look good in any sense, really, bouncing checks that big. You know, and I'm kind of curious how much those earnest money checks were. If the house was 1.4 million purchase, you know, depending on what, usually in that sense, earnest money is what, like 10% usually to pull a house off the market to keep anybody from putting in estimates. Then on top of that, your escrow fees, your title fees, you know, especially since you paid cash, like you're gonna get the deed. So you got to pay the deed transfer. You know, you got to pay all that. On top of that, the aggravation, you know, cash. Like, unless you're Jeff Bezos or some rich ass person, like, and you have that kind of money laying around to do that kind of thing, you know, because if you're gonna go, I don't know if I've never had to pull out $1.4 million from the bank, but I would assume that the bank is gonna, you know, that's gonna raise some red flags when somebody comes up and pulls out 1.4 million. Unless, okay, what if David had that 1.4 million spread out between 10 different bank accounts, you know? But still, even then, 10 different bank accounts, you know, he would still have to pull 100 grand out each time, and that would still trigger an audit, I would think, because anything over 10 grand, you know, you can deposit $9,999 without the bank trigger, like, you know, triggering audit, I think. You know, if you go through customs, you can bring in $9,999 without claiming it. Anything over $10,000, $10,000 or above, you have to claim it. So there's really weird laws, you know. So maybe he did, but unless he just had that cash, and man, that's a shit ton of cash to be laying around, David. You know, without it being somewhere secure. Tracy Lynn, T. Marley. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of dog lovers on here too, which is badass. I love dogs, man. I grew up with dogs, had a lot of dogs, dog family. So let's see. There's Odin, Banner, and Kylo Ren. So let's see. Tracy Lynn has Kylo Ren, Kid Frost, Banner, like Bruce Banner, and Odin. I wanted to name him Ragnar, but my wife said no. I like Ragnar. That's a boss ass name. You should name your next dog that. Next dog I get, I'll probably name him Ragnar or something badass. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be kind of it for today. You know, David's gonna continue to run a scam until he's stopped. Really, it's gonna continue unless the right person comes forward and puts their story on record and testimony and goes public. And here's the thing, that non-disclosure agreement, I promise you, will not hold up in court. Guarantee it. 100% won't hold up. Guarantee it. I've already done the research into it. That non-disclosure agreement, the judge will laugh at it and throw it out. Just to let you guys know. So if you guys are scared of that non-disclosure agreement, it won't hold up. Or if you're scared of David saying you're going to get cancer and you're going to die, you're not, obviously not, because if God is, you know, who he is, and I'm speaking out against a prophet, why hasn't, you know, I'm not cursing God or anything, but I'm just saying, you know, God is supposed to strike down people who speak against his prophets, and David, nothing's happened, you know, and I've been speaking out against you for quite a while now. So questions, comments, concerns, you guys leave them below. Everybody, thanks for following. Thank you for subscribing. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe. I'm in this till the end to make sure that David is stopped. Jail. That's it. That's it. I get no pleasure out of this. The only pleasure I get is knowing that someday David will be in jail. Hopefully, you know, that's my goal, to push the envelope to make sure that people like David and David himself, David's case should set precedents for these prosperity ministers. No doubt. Just the fact that he went in his deposition and just fucking lied through the whole thing. Then deferred over to Michelle. Then when Michelle's deposition came over, deferred over to Ashley. These people need to be fucking arrested because they obviously are running a scam. You know, plain and clear. Plain and clear. Anybody with a basic common sense and a basic knowledge of the way finances work and the tax law, I would think they could see right through this scam. You know, David, you're not very good at what you're doing, or else you wouldn't have been caught. So, again, you guys, questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. David E. Taylor, you're a piece of shit. Michelle Brandon, you're a lying sack of shit. And Ashley Ware, you're complicit now because Michelle has now involved you with the bank records, saying that you know everything about the bank records. So, you know, keep enjoying your scam. I will be there tomorrow I'll be there tomorrow, David. So just, you're never going to know when, but I will. You guys, thank you for following. Again, hit that like and subscribe. And any questions, you know, you guys hit them below. I'll try to respond to them as much as I can. This is my only social media, so I really do enjoy interacting with every one of you. And, you know, I look forward to all your guys' whatever you guys bring to the channel. It's always good. There's always something good that you guys bring here. So, again, thank you guys. You all have a good evening. And David E. Taylor, stay down, stay dirty, stay a piece of shit, man.